What is your mental fitness routine? Do you have one? I'm going to share with you mine, and then we're going to cover the 3 secrets that are the most important tools that everybody needs to have in their tool belt of mental fitness that a lot of people overlook. Welcome, everybody, to the Mindset in Rhythm podcast, where we're going to cover the most important tools to take care of your most important tool. Brought to you by a guy whose name, thinking of Barstool Sports, has become synonymous with a tool. Your host, Chad J, aka CJ Mind, where you can find me on social. Let's get into it. Let's rock and roll. Just about everybody has some sort of physical fitness routine, whether that's going to the doctor and getting checked up on, diets, supplements, healthy eating, exercising, getting on the scale, taking vitamins. There's lots of things that we do to take care of our physical body on a pretty regular basis. But how many things do we do to take care of the mind, the most important part of our body? This could be personal development books, meditation, physical exercise, motivational videos, yoga, goal setting, therapy, psychedelics, affirmations, internal gratitude reflection, journaling, nootropics. There's a bunch of different things that we can be doing. The key to having a mental fitness routine and different practices that you can implement when you need them, so you can fire up your brain and get into the state that you want to be in for the things that you care about. So let's dig in. I'm going to go over my routine, and I'm going to cover the fundamentals of the things that I try to do every single day. So the morning comes around, alarm goes off, bam, 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 boom, hitting that thing. Where are you in your sleep cycle? This is an important part to start the day, because good, healthy sleep affects your mood stabilization, your judgment, your ability to focus, your emotional health, your memory. So for your mental fitness, it is very important to get good sleep. And hey, I get it. Sometimes you don't have time to get good sleep. So if you can't get good sleep, just do what Arnold Schwarzenegger says and
just sleep a little faster.
So there actually is a way to sleep a little bit faster, and it's by sleeping a little bit smarter. My circadian rhythm is about an hour and a half. That's actually the set average that most people are. It's an hour and a half, 90-minute cycles. So the whole 8 hours of sleep thing actually isn't very accurate. Depending on your specific circadian rhythm, you're probably better with 7.5 hours or 9 hours or 10.5 if you really like to get that beauty rest. Your cycle could vary. It could be as low as an hour. It could be as long as 2 hours. The best way to test this is anytime you naturally wake up throughout the night, check the time, write down the time. But here we are. We can't forget we are still in the morning. The alarm is going off. We're hitting that thing, probably wishing we could just snuggle back in a little bit longer. Maybe today we can. But regardless, here's what I'm doing every single day. I hit that alarm. I roll back into bed, probably pull the covers up a little bit, and I think through 3 things. I call this my first 3 and my last 3. It's about appreciation and excitement. So in the morning, I think of 3 thoughts about what I'm excited to do that day. It's the very first thing that happens. So you could even ask yourself, what do you think about first thing in the morning? Is it an intentional thing, or is it just based on reaction? Is it just whatever comes to mind, the first thought that comes in your head? What do I got to do today? What happened yesterday? Whatever's on your mind, or are you intentional, right? That's your starting point. Wherever you're going to go is going to start from there. So what are those first few thoughts for you? So I think through what are the 3 things that I'm most excited to do that day. It'll start to get the blood pumping and get a little bit excited about the day. The next thing I do is I grab my phone and I go into the notes section, and I will try to remember. Can't always remember them. Sometimes they slip right on by you. I call it the dream doc, and I write my dreams in there. Careful zooming in on there's some strange things happening in my subconscious. I think dreams and tracking your dreams and paying attention to what you're thinking about, what is going on in your subconscious, is super important. Plus, first thing in the morning, trying to remember your dreams is forcing your memory to come alive too. So you're instantly getting a memory exercise. Next thing I do right next to the dreams doc is where I have goals. Bada boom, bada bang. 6 different things, 3 different groups. The first group is, what are you grateful for? So that's the first thing you're writing down. 2 things you're grateful for. They could be big things, they could be little things, whatever you like. Then the next thing is, what are 2 hopes, dreams, goals, big picture things that you're pushing for in your life that you would love to hit one day? Then you're going to write down the final one, which is 2 things that are your goals for the day, whether those are specific goals or emotional goals. So what does this do, and why is this important? Well, guess what? Your conscious mind may forget about these things that you wrote down throughout the day, but your subconscious mind does not forget. Whatever you're putting in there, it stores it away somewhere in your mind. So what you're doing is you're actually activating a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system mediates the conscious and the subconscious mind and where your attention ultimately goes. It impacts the things you notice. It's very important to be intentional about what you're sticking into your mind as of the things you want. And another point to that is there is so much stimulation, so much different stimuli coming at you from social media and the news and all of these different platforms of information overload that we live in. And what's happening there is a lot of that stuff is getting put into your subconscious. So it's important to be intentional about at least a few of the things instead of just getting a random feed of information that gets stuffed into your mind. And then based on how much I've already been talking about this stuff, it may feel like we're already 15 minutes into the day, but trust me, we're really like maybe a minute 30 seconds into this day. Don't worry, this doesn't take that long. And the final piece that we're going to write down, that I like to write down, is a note called mindset. What state of mind, what mindset do I want to be in today based on the things that I'm going to do? A lot of times I'm writing down productive, focused, peace, excited, connected, grateful, whatever it is that day that you want to feel. So this is the intentional thought that I've done so far this morning. I've thought through the things that I'm excited for that day. I've thought through what dreams I had, taking a little look into whatever is going on. I've written down some goals, some things that I'm excited for, and I've gotten clear on the state of mind that I want to be in throughout that day, right? So all of that, probably about 2 minutes, pretty quick. The next thing that I do is I get some light. So thankfully, my windows allow a lot of natural light to come through in the morning, but I also have this little sunrise lamp that starts lighting up the room about 30 minutes before you're supposed to wake up. And that helps you climb out of your circadian rhythm and stop the production of melatonin, which is what makes you feel all tired and wanting to stay in bed and be cozy. Next thing I'm doing is getting some agua, some H2O, some water to flush out the toxins in the body. Water is important for balancing the chemical processes that are going on in your mind, which reducing stress, anxiety. Most of the population is also chronically dehydrated. The next piece is move the body. So there's a few different ways you can go about this. I have a personal favorite, and that is, sounds a little funny, but play one of your favorite songs and just dance. Get up and dance for a little bit in the morning. Move your body. If that's a little too risque for you, you could go for a walk. You could get out, you could do a quick workout. But what these things are doing by moving the body, you are going to release a lot of endorphins. You're going to increase the serotonin in your brain. You're going to just start to think more clearly, feel better about yourself and about your life and the things you're going to do that day. You're going to start producing the thoughts that you want to be thinking in the morning. So that's the morning, all right? It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's intentional morning thought, writing down a few things that are important to me. Then it's getting some light, moving around, shaking the body, getting some water. You're just firing up the brain. All of that probably takes about 10 minutes total. It's a good start to the day. And now here we are. It's nighttime. It's time to lay the head down and get some rest. But what do we do before that to make sure our mind is in a great space? Well, first thing I do about 30 minutes before I'm going to go to bed is pop those blue light blockers on. So your body can begin to produce melatonin so you can get into that circadian rhythm. The next thing that I will do is write down my to-do list for tomorrow. And the reason that that's important before you go to bed, or at least at the end of your workday, is because of something called cognitive loading, when you have a lot on your mind. So for a lot of people who have challenges sleeping, typically you'll hear them say, well, my mind is constantly racing. I have so many thoughts going through my head. And it typically is these little short-term things of what I'm supposed to do tomorrow, anything that's on your mind. So finding ways to purge that stuff, get it off your mind so it's written down somewhere where you know it is and it doesn't need to be dancing around your head. You're not forcing yourself to keep that mental to-do list. Next thing I'll do is jump on the keys, maybe play a little bit of guitar. I like to play some music, and that's just for fun. It's just relaxing, time to wind down. And then what I do is I shut down the lights, make it dark, and I walk around my apartment for 5 to 10 minutes just cleaning and tidying things up. Turn the lights down low, not too low. You don't want to be banging your head or stubbing your toe against anything. It's a good way to end on a win and sort of wind down your mind in a productive way as well. The next thing that I'll do is grab my, what I call the progression of perception pads. A lot cooler than a diary or a journal, if I do say so myself. So this is basically where I've got a bunch of these things, and we'll go through this stuff in more detail later, but It's a way for me to take ideas and thoughts that I've had throughout the day and specific learnings or quotes or something that came up throughout the day and put it somewhere where I can go back, look at it, remember it. I keep all this stuff positive. I just write in random things that are exciting to me. I try to make it look sort of artistic, just so I actually appreciate going back and reading it. But really important to have something very specific that you do which helps you philosophize the things that are going on in your life, learn as you're moving along, and somewhere to go back and remember and review those things that were important to you throughout your day and throughout your life. It's helping you to consolidate your short-term memory into long-term memory. So you're taking what important information did I learn today and consolidating that into what you're actually going to carry with you in the long term. And after that, all right, it's time to shut the eyes. But hey, we're not totally done yet. The final thing that I do before I fall asleep, and really while I'm falling asleep, is the same thing that we started our day off with. Remember the first three, the things that you're excited to go out and do that day? Well, we're going to go through the three things that you are proud of, that you're grateful for, the best parts of your day. You're training your mind to see them throughout the day and to remember them at the end of the night. Plus, it just puts you in a peaceful, relaxed state of mind, remembering the good things that happened that day instead of letting your mind wander and race and think about a bunch of garbage that is really not what you want to be stuffing into your subconscious, right? Because that's part of it. As you're falling asleep, you're really slipping into your subconscious. So it's a great opportunity to bring with things that you actually want to be down there. So to recap the nightly routine, 30 minutes before I'm going to go to bed, blue light blockers on. I write down my to-do list for tomorrow. I might get in and play a little music, enjoyable and relaxing. And then 5 to 10 minutes of tidying up in dark light. Then my progression of perception pads. And I go through my last three thoughts, which really, probably takes all about a half hour based on the way that I like to do my mental fitness routine at the end of the night. I encourage you to create your own that fits for however you like it. If there's one call to action from this video, it would be to just spend 10 to 15 minutes writing down your morning routine and your evening routine, specific to the way that you want to feel and the things that you think are important to taking good care of your mental health and fitness, right? Even just writing them down, even if you're not committing to necessarily doing it, but just saying this would be ideal, will put you in a place where you'll start to see those things, probably be a little more likely to do them. All right, so now it's time for the 3 secrets that everybody needs to have in their mental fitness tool belt. The first item, the first secret is we all need to know very clearly what state of mind and mindset we are going to go for that day. There is so much unintentional thought that takes place, so many reactive thoughts that come to us. It's very important to be clear about how you actually want to feel. And a lot of people that I'll talk to and coach, I say, what is it that you're feeling that you don't want to be feeling? And they will be very specific with laser accuracy as to those feelings. It's as if they're literally thinking about them all day. They're creating a vivid picture of what that is. But then you ask them, what is it that you'd like to feel? And the detail drops substantially. The amount of time it takes them to respond to that question is much longer. Why is that? Because they don't spend much time thinking about how they actually want to think and feel. And that's a huge part of the problem. We premeditate so many things in our life. And so if you're constantly thinking and have a very clear image of how you don't want to feel, but you're not really that sure and not that specific about how you want to feel, you do the math on where you think you're going to end up. The second thing that everybody should have in their mental fitness tool belt is a way to philosophize. A way to take everything that's happening in your life and extract the relevant information and to keep track of it in a way that's meaningful to you. Some specific way where you're becoming more clear about who you are and what you actually care about in your life. So that's really what these pads are for me. It's a way for me to consolidate the information that's happening throughout the day, the things that I'm learning, and keep track of them, somewhere that I can go back and look at them a year from now, 10 years from now, and go, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that thing, but that's so important, right? Where are you keeping track of the things you're learning? Because this book, any book, that's great. This is somebody else's ideas, though. Where are your ideas? Where are the things that you're learning? Where's the blueprint for your life that's relevant? And how are you keeping track of that? Because the reality is the things that are meaningful to you in your life are different than everybody else's. The way that you're supposed to navigate your world is different completely from everyone else. So where are you writing down that blueprint? Where are you keeping track of the most important things to you? So that could be like what I have, some sort of journal, some sort of way of tracking the important things. That could be writing music. That could be poetry. It could be photography or any form of art. What are you creating that is keeping track of what's relevant to you? All right, so the third and final tool that everybody should have in their tool belt of mental fitness is a way to shift your state quickly when you want and need to. Unwanted thoughts, distractions, uncomfortability, unwanted emotions, just getting into mental ruts, all this stuff occurs on a regular basis for everybody. We're not alone in that. We all need specific ways to reboot ourselves and get into the state that we actually want to be in. So there's a lot of different ways we can go about this. For me personally, it's really meditation and visualization, which is ways that I can go in and change the way that I'm thinking in a quick manner. This is also conversations with good people, good friends that uplift you. It could also be listening to a type of music that really inspires you or brings you into a different state. It's going to be different for everybody. It's your job to figure out what works for you, but it's important to just know in the back of your head, it actually gives you more confidence, knowing that even if I slip into this rut or I start to think this way or that way, I have a set plan. I have tools that I can use to help get me realigned to where I want to be. Those are things that you're lacking in or need to enhance a little bit more. We're actually going to dive in a little bit deeper over the next few videos and podcasts, so look forward to those. Keep your eye out for them when they come up. Really appreciate any comments, any likes, subscriptions, however this stuff works. I'm still just figuring out the whole YouTube and podcasting space, so I don't really know. But hey, whatever you got to do, you probably know what that is. I appreciate it. So thank you guys. This is the Mindset in Rhythm podcast, where we provide the most important tools to take care of your most important tool. Brought to you by Chad J, aka CJ at Mind, where you can find me on social. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Hope this was enjoyable, and we will see you on the next one.